Good afternoon, everybody. It's a dog with you. We're in the kennel. It's post-Memorial Day. We took our week off, and hope you had a good time Memorial Day weekend. Weather was a little iffy, but I hope you enjoyed yourself and with your family. It's great to be back on the air. We have a host of guests scheduled for the next 2 months. Matter of fact, we're booked until August, believe it or not. But we have a couple of my good friends that have joined us. It's been a while since they've been back. The very shy, bashful Cindy Lorenzetti is with us in the studios, along with my longtime pal, Steve Churchill, who I was busting about the fact that he's not the greatest communicator back to the dog, but we'll let that slide, Steve. It's good to have you on as well.
It's good to be here.
It's always good. Well, guys, there's a lot to talk about. Let's get right to it. Certainly on the county level, I want to start off with one thing that I was reading about the county. I know that there's excerpts that are printed by Dave Shaw from your meetings. It seems to be a key issue, and that is the folks that work for the county are leaving in good numbers. And I know you guys kick it around. A lot of people say it's the salaries. Some people say it's management. Cindy, it's your first shot at it. What is it? What's causing people to leave our county compared to going other places and getting more money, etc.?
Well, I do believe that salary plays a big role. We have done studies and we've gathered data to find out that we are significantly lower. So that is going to be addressed. But we do hear some tweets out there where there could be some management issues at play, and those are also supposedly being looked into. So really can't comment on that any further, but we do know that they're out there and they're being investigated.
Steve, anything to add? I know that's a topic that you've been involved in as well.
Yeah, and I think Cindy said it right. I mean, some folks are leaving because they're unhappy with the management and the kind of the culture of Seneca County, or the change in the culture at Seneca County. But salaries certainly come into play too, and I think you find that in some jobs more than others. But yeah, and both of them supposedly are being addressed. We don't, as a board, tend to move very fast. We talk a lot, and then things drop off the back burner. But hopefully things get done.
And I will go right to this point because I saw it listed in the news article that Steve has decided to hang up his hat this year and will not be running for re-election. And you've served, 8 years, Steve?
Yes, I've served 4 terms, be 8 years the end of this year. I've really enjoyed it, some of it. I really liked serving the folks of Seneca Falls. I take a lot of pride in that. I've always appreciated their support. But I have a lot of things on a lot of burners. My wife and I are raising 2 young granddaughters. We have I've got Stoneboat computing support business, which is growing. So right now I just want to take a back seat. Might come back, maybe seek out a different role in the future, but I will certainly be involved.
The famous line, "I'll be back."
I'll be back.
I'll be back.
Can I just
I was just going to come to you to give your plaudits to your friend here. I know you and
Thanks.
him work closely together, and you're a two-person tandem, and I know you're going to be sorely missing Steve.
I am definitely going to be sorely missing Steve, and Gary Westfall has also said that he is not seeking re-election. So for the 8 years that I've been on there, they've been a great inspiration, and we've pretty much, for the most part, agreed on a lot of issues and voted that way. And I can't think of anybody that's fought harder for the environmental issues or for Seneca Lake than Steve had. So I know we're going to miss him. And I'm going to hold him to it that he's going to come back in a different capacity.
Well, I go to bed at 9:15, 9:30 most every night. You guys just start your meetings at that hour at the county level, so I don't show up. I think I showed up once a few years ago and made a presentation. But I got to tell you, I know, Cindy, you're well known for being quite aggressive on your issues that you want to talk about, that you want to see get approved or not approved. And I know your buddy Steve sometimes has to lasso you sometimes in a meeting. And I think, Steve, that's going to be an element that she's going to miss and you're going to miss.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, and there's I've used many descriptors for her over the years. I've referred to her as a badger, and how I wouldn't want to run into her.
No.
And she has larger cayunes than anybody else on the board by far. I mean, she's a bulldog. She goes after it, and I support her. I mean, she represents so well. She represents the people of Fayette. They should be proud to have her. They should support her this fall because she's always there. She listens. I don't know how she squeezes she has a very busy schedule as well. She has grandchildren, and she gets it all done, but she does it as well, if not better, than anybody on the board.
And occasionally I even see her at a picnic. Remember last summer?
Yep, every now and then. I'm not as social as I should be with events, but geez, you can't fit it all in. So
I was surprised to see you there because I know how busy you are.
Yeah.
Well, listen, now let's go to another topic that's dear to my heart. The IDA. I know that you have been nonstop with Bob Aronson and that fine committee. Well, I use that term loosely, I might add, but I know that I have asked you many times on my program, why is it that we don't have follow-up on when you give out perks, which are okay to give out.
Yeah.
But as I've said 1,000 times on this show, if you give somebody X numbers of thousands of dollars and you tell me you're going to hire 25 more people and after 2 years I hire 3, there ought to be something to do about getting that money back. And you said, I agree with you. You've been after them to follow up and to make sure they issue a report to the board. Is that any closer to being done?
Well, I guess you haven't kept up all the way then, Harold, because I wasn't reappointed back to the IDA board.
Okay.
So that kind of, that sent a big signal back to me. But whatever, Don Trout's there, and I think that Don will do a good job. But before my departure, I gave what was it, Steve, 8 or 9 recommendations. And supposedly they were going to be followed through and carried through, and that was one of them.
Oh, yeah.
But we have to go back to that. It's like Steve did say.
Yeah.
Sometimes we're aggressive and then the ball gets dropped.
Right.
But hopefully we can bring that back through. And I do know one thing. There are communicating between the IDA and the Chamber of Commerce, trying to form a stronger structure for when businesses want to come into this county. They're treated a little more fairly and welcoming, like welcome arms instead of closed arms. So that's good. That's a good thing. But you're right. We need to follow through with that list of, okay, did you get this many jobs? Correct.
That just seems, my Miners Academy background.
Well, in my understanding, I'm sure this is the reason you would get, because I received it one time. When I first got on the board, I went right to the IDA and said, what's going on? I work at Gould's. You're paying for operating expense. You're giving a break on taxes for operating purchases. And what I was told was that they aren't staffed for that. That's not their role. If there's some audit process that really needs to be done, that follow-up, that accountability, they don't have the staff to do it. So that would be up to the state government, essentially, to follow. They're kind of an arm, right? They're just this authority, this organization that can give these grants, these freebies, these incentives, these inducements. But once that's done, boom, they're done.
Makes no sense.
Yeah.
It doesn't.
I mean, and then they just stand in line and wait for their money to come back from signing the paper. I mean, it's to me, it's a corrupt system. IDAs, our IDA, I think, doesn't have much value in our county. I haven't seen what they've really brought in. They've taken a lot. They essentially raped and pillaged the depot of all the assets that were left behind by the Army. And then they essentially walked away, right? They auctioned it off, and even that deal didn't work the way that they said it was gonna. And I have very little respect for them. I'd like to see the IDA dissolved, and then a new mission statement created to define what we want of an IDA, and then perhaps we form a new one in a year or two. But
it's interesting. Well, there's one more topic before we take our commercial break and pay homage to the fine people that make this show possible. And Cindy, I'll start off with you. I know that I've been involved with the Indian lawsuits, et cetera, going on for years and years and years. And I recently posted on Facebook, because it finally got to me, after our county trying to get them to pay back taxes, et cetera, which has been the big theme around here. And I understand why we were trying to get them to pay it, but nothing seems to happen, and they go in front of Judge Saragusa. And I started looking at that, and I was talking to an attorney, which will remain nameless on this show. And so how many times you think our Indian lawsuit that the county is trying to put through, how many times have we gone in front of Saragusa, the judge? And they estimated 4 or 5 times over the years.
Yeah.
We're 0 for 4. I think we're 0 for 4 or 0 for 5. We're not even scaring a win against it. My point is, and I made a note to Bob Shipley, and I think I started off my Facebook post by saying, I like Bob Shipley as a person. I do. But I don't understand why we are so gung-ho on the county level of gearing up our chest of money that we have in the county and spending money on legal costs, lawyers, to continue the battle when it appears from my vantage point that we're not going to win. It appears the handwriting is on the wall. I don't know. You can answer it, Cindy, any way you like, and I want Steve to comment. When are we going to realize that they're untouchable?
Okay.
When is that going to happen?
So I don't agree with that.
Okay.
And here's why.
All right.
I think that we're going to get back to the point that we were at, we were at 2 or 3 years ago when Harris Beach dropped the filing.
I understand.
And we were ready to go to the Supreme Court level.
Okay.
We had a Washington attorney that reached out to us and was very, very interested in taking the case. Somebody that has been before the Supreme Court, I don't want to say numbers and be wrong, but like 75 times.
I remember.
And pretty much won every case.
Okay.
So to me, in my mind, I think he wouldn't have looked at this case and wouldn't wanted to take it if that wasn't going to be maybe win number 76.
Okay.
And in my heart, I just think that if we give up,
right,
we've given them what they've always wanted.
Right.
And I just think that we need to take it back to that level. We need to go there. We need to find out if we win or lose. Now, we may lose, but I would sleep a lot better at night knowing that the Supreme Court got it, they made the decision, and then you live with it.
Your position would change dramatically if the Supreme Court did not take the case? Since they have to make a decision whether they would even hear the case.
Good question. I think that they'll take the case.
Okay.
I feel confident.
They only
with
take 1 out of 10.
No, I know, but I feel confident because I spoke to that attorney from Washington.
I'm just curious.
Nope, I'm going to all the way for the touchdown.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Stevie?
Well, I agree, but I want to touch on one point, and that is that Seneca County isn't spending Seneca County tax dollars other than our state tax dollars.
Okay.
Right. Good
on
point.
This is being funded by the state.
Okay.
Okay? But yeah, we have to go, and going through Saragusa is just that's just the channel that you got to take to get there. Every time you challenge anything, it's got to go. It doesn't have to go through Saragusa. It's got to go through a federal court. So we've been lucky to go through Saragusa. It could go to the central region, which we haven't had as much luck. So we go to the western region, and we've done much better.
Okay.
But essentially, he's just going to kick the ball up to the Second Circuit, and then hopefully we get it to the Supreme Court. But it's really, and it's at the Supreme Court isn't going to be considering necessarily Seneca County versus the Cugas. It's the bigger issue of
treaty or non-treaty.
Right.
Exactly. And whether it's not a sovereign. They weren't part of the treaty. Right. They weren't mentioned in the treaty. So
okay.
Right.
It's got to be answered at the federal level, either by the Congress or the Supreme Court.
Gotcha. Well, let's take our commercial break. We got more to talk about. I want to get to Cindy and Steve and ask them what's their hot boiling point right now on the county level. I'm sure that may be some other issues other than what I brought up. This is Weber This Week on a Monday. Stay with us.
Where are you going?
Acting as a gateway to the Finger Lakes, Del Lago leverages the natural beauty and unique offerings while enhancing tourism in the region. The casino features 2,000 slot machines, 89 gaming tables, including 12 poker tables, portico by Fabio Viviani, a 2,400-person entertainment center, farmers market buffet. The hotel, spa, and banquet facility will open summer 2017.
Cayuga Lake National Bank. Visit Bill Ryan and his team for all of your banking needs. Offices in Union Springs and Aurora, a fine sponsor of this show for over 30 years. DA Liquor on Bridge Street in Seneca Falls. Amy Padula and her team will find the right spirit for you every time. When you stop in, tell Amy the dog sent you. The Gold Hotel welcomes you to come out and enjoy the revitalization of this historic downtown Seneca Falls landmark. Every Wednesday is Ladies' Night with special price drinks and half-priced appetizers. Learn more at thegouldhotel.com. The Omen Theater on William Street in Lyons. See what's playing this week at omentheater.com. Located off New York State Thruway Exit 41, the McGee Diner has earned their reputation as a popular family restaurant, serving country fresh home-cooked meals daily. Stop in for breakfast, lunch, or dinner, and check out their menu at McGeeDiner.com. Seneca Metals is an award-winning company that has earned a reputation of going above and beyond to protect the environment and support their community. As an EPA inspector once said, Their operation is head and shoulders above the rest. And the Newark Pilots of the Perfect Game Collegiate Baseball League, a minor league team with a major league ballpark. Season ticket packages available at newarkpilots.com. And the Wilson Press in Seneca Falls. My good pal Rich Rickey and his team can handle all of your printing and mailing needs. Visit them online at wpress.com.
Cicino's live, laugh, eat well. It's the Italian way. It's also the Cicino's way. Visit one of their 3 locations, Waterloo, Geneva, and now at Del Lago Resort and Casino. Order online for pickup or delivery at cicinos.com.
Welcome back, everybody. Little music. Sound like a Johnny Carson show. Nice. Hey. Well, good afternoon, everybody. It's a dog back with you with Steve Churchill and Cindy Lorenzetti. A couple of things to pass on before we get back to these fine guests. Speaking of Seneca Metals, they always have these events out there, and they wanted me to plug the Stomp Rocket Build and Launch. Stomp Rockets are super fun to make and really cool to launch. It's amazing what kids can do with paper, PVC pipe, and balloons. So come see how far your rocket will fly. All materials will be provided by Seneca Metals. To register, call 315-539-5624. That's at the Seneca Metals Educational Center, State Route 414 in Seneca Falls. By the way, the date is Saturday, June 24th, 3 o'clock to 4, 1 hour. Rain date, Thursday, June 29th, 6:30 to 7:30. It is free, and it is a family affair. Speaking of the Newark Pilots, I see they're one of our great sponsors, the Yeomans. They're, of course, underway with their Perfect Game Collegiate Baseball League. If you want to entertain yourself and go watch a great baseball game, check out Coburn Park in Newark. I know that I go out there quite a few times during the year with some friends and family. It is quite the night. I think you're on the road a lot this week, but I'm going next week. And if you want to go watch a game, have some great baseball. I know Cindy's right up your alley. Some good old baseball food. It's fabulous, Steve. You'd love it. And it's the Newark Pilots at Coburn Park. They are great. All right, let's get back to our show. And Cindy, I was going to, as we getting close, it's almost 22 after now, get close to items that you want to talk about.
Well, wait 1 second.
All right, go ahead.
I have to interrupt again.
Go ahead.
When you just said Johnny Carson, if that's the case, then I want to see a raccoon sitting on top of your head that takes a leak.
Well, I don't know.
He was the best.
He was the
taco
best.
Show, right?
Oh, I used to tape him every night.
Oh my gosh, yeah. All right, sorry.
That's okay.
I thought of that animal sitting on top of your head.
Well, okay, you got a topic you want to talk about that I haven't covered that you want to just bring up? And is there something you're working on that's important to you? Obviously, there's a lot of things important
We're
to you.
always working on water.
I know.
Always,
okay,
always.
All right, so how's that doing? Water?
Well, we did a study. We had 2 informational sessions in the town of Fayette. Actually, you know, Waterloo can make water cheaper than anybody, including the town of Seneca Falls.
Right.
We can't understand why we can't have Waterloo service the whole county at a cheaper rate. Everybody put pipe in the ground because people want water.
Right.
And if you want businesses to come, you got to have infrastructure. So that's probably one of the good reasons that I've decided to stay on. I get why Steve's leaving. You get burned out. You really do. But when there's something that you're still fighting for and you want to try to see it through, then kind of gives you that spirit to stay there.
That's great. Well, Stevie, it's the ball's in your court. You got a topic that you would like to run over before we get off the air here?
Well,
Just something that comes to mind?
Environmental Affairs, which I chair, we're still pushing. We're still working on an odor ordinance in the county. It'd be a countywide odor ordinance that would address odors emanated by commercial entities. It's not targeting agriculture or a personal homeowner, but so we're trying to get one of those on the books. Other than that, Cindy and I talk about a lot, but I struggle with some of the current leadership that we have. Our county manager I'm not a huge fan. I think that he's certainly aware of that. I don't like some of the programs that he's pushed through, really under, the guise that the sky is falling. I don't like that. That's not my MO.
Right.
I like to work on things and really do the due diligence, get the information. We've rushed, I think, several programs through unnecessarily.
Is it a case where if you're not unhappy with the county manager that you have to, the board, they reports to the board, obviously, right? He reports to the board.
Supposed to.
Yeah, it doesn't feel like that often, to be honest with you.
No, but tell him he's up.
Oh,
His term will be up the end of June, so we have
Okay.
to come up and
Well,
make
his term
a
is
decision.
up the end of December, but we
Oh, correct.
have-
I'm sorry.
the
We have
board-
to give him a 6 months.
Correct.
Yay
Okay.
or nay.
Yeah, whether we plan on reappointing him for a 4-year term.
okay.
But yeah, no, I mean, I feel, to your point, I mean, I don't feel that Mr. Shepard works with the board all that well. I think he has his own agenda. I think he's very political. He showed that during the campaign last fall. He was working very hard for some folks for state senate and was advised that, we really didn't care for that, but
Yeah.
he did it anyways, continued to do it. So, I'm at odds with the county manager, but I'm one of the few.
Well, let's repeat, if you just joined us, obviously we missed having you the first 20 minutes of our show. It's Weber this week, and Steve has announced, of course, it's already been out there in the media land, but I just want to reconfirm that he has announced that he will not be running for office this coming year for re-election. He's going to do other things that are on his top priority list, and as he pointed out to me early on during the show, that he may come back.
Yes.
Which I think is a key.
Absolutely.
And, not because, Steve, you and me are friends. You've been friends with me for a long time, and I am friends with your wife. And I remember way back when you used to help me on the golf tournament.
Absolutely.
Et cetera. We used to have a ball doing the Camp on Seattle tournament,
Yeah.
which raised a lot of money, and you were part of that success because we were able to shoot the film, and it was great on your part. But in all honesty, Steve, I've known him a long time, and he is dedicated, and he's certainly given his due, as Cindy pointed out. He is determined to make this county and this area better than it is right now. And obviously there are improvements to be made. And just so you know, Steve, that I'm a big fan of yours, and I wish you the best of success.
Well, I appreciate it. Thank you, Harold.
And I certainly do believe in that. Let's talk about upcoming guests, and then we'll get a wrap up on what we got planned for the next several weeks. Let's go to that right now. Next week, speaking of one of the hot entities in the area, of course, Del Lago Resort and Casino doing very well. Lots of promotions, lots of winners, and certainly a lot of losers, I'm sure. Next Monday, we'll have Jeff Babinski, the Executive Vice President and General Manager, in the house. He's been on 5 or 6 times for obvious reasons, as the casino got to where it is today. Now they're doing a lot of work on landscaping, which is going to be a big deal for out there as well. But also we're bringing in Chris Polito, who was on the show several weeks ago. He is Vice President of Hospitality. Why is Chris coming on? Because I sent Jimmy some renderings of the hotel, and we're going to be showing them next week to give everybody an opportunity to see what the hotel rooms will look like and what you'll be looking at as far as the restaurants, the coffee shops, et cetera, et cetera. That'll be next week on the 12th. Jeff Babinski, along with Chris Polito, will be my guest. And then she's back again. Katie McIntyre returns. She's going to talk about 261. She's going to talk about her experiences with the Boston Marathon. And she's done a phenomenal job keeping us updated. So she'll be on the 19th. And speaking of Seneca Metal as a sponsor, they will come back on the 26th of this month. Kyle Black and Mark Benjamin will be in the house to talk about, obviously, I guess their excitement of the 3-2 vote, which, of course, overturned Local Law 3, and now we have Local Law 2. And I've read both of them. Not so sure, Cindy, how to read either one of them, but that's okay.
Very simple.
That's
simple.
some legalese.
Very simple.
But so that's the month of June, and we are booked all the way through July. So if you're looking to come on my show, we'd love to hear from you, and let Jim Senecropia or myself know that you have an interest in coming on. Obviously, the show's now at 3 o'clock. We expect our guests to get here at 2:45. And sometimes Cindy forgets, but she's always on time. Today she was here on the chair, ready to go. By the way, Cindy, what do you think of our new headquarters? Isn't it beautiful?
It is beautiful.
It's so big
Very
and
nice.
it's so spacious.
So spacious.
I used to worry about,
airy.
when I would tell Jimmy on years ago, let's bring in 3 guests, he'd have not a fit, but he'd say, dog, we can't do it. We don't have enough cameras. Now we can bring in 8, 10 people.
Yeah, it's light and
Right,
airy.
Jim? That's the greatest thing in the world.
Yeah.
I love this new broadcast
Yeah.
center.
It is very nice.
And
Very
it ma-
nice.
And it makes you look better on camera. Steve.
Well, I don't know about that.
It does. It does. Well, guys, thanks an awful lot for spending time with us.
Thank you.
I'm sorry the show goes so quick. And Steve, good luck to you, buddy.
All right.
Yeah.
And again, these two, I know they're friends of mine. That's why I have them on the show. But they are dedicated people that really, really work in their own way, in their own niche, to make the county a better place. So to Cindy and Steve, my best from the dog. That's Weber this week on a Monday. We hope that you enjoyed the show. We'll catch you next week for another edition. Take care.